forget. So that way you can come back and rewatch or
As
see
you
the
just heard, Krista is our host today. Brooke and I are here for support, and we're going to answer comments in the chat. We have over 100, actually 200 people registered in our region for this series. And why do you think we have so many agents registered, Brooke?
Well, I think that one, the MREA can be a lot, and they're hoping we're going to break it down into bite-sized pieces. But they're ready. They're ready. We're in the shift, right? If you didn't think we're in the shift, we are. Shift happens. It's the best. We have to shift or get off the pot. There are so many good puns.
Yes, and you know what? The MREA is still so relevant. If you guys were at Family Reunion or watched any of the sessions that Gary had, there is a shirt out there that, yes, the MREA is still relevant. I'm going to leave out their bleep words for there. I see Kristen just popped back on. She's hanging her jacket up. She's going to be on with us in a minute. Before we get started, I would love to see who's in the room here and what is one thing you want to take away from this series. What is the one thing that you would like to take away from this series? Drop it in the chat or unmute yourself before we welcome on Krista. So what is the one thing you want to take away from this? Why did you sign up?
I want to get organized.
Organized. I love it. Thank you, Sandra. Systems, MREA mindset, leverage specifics. I love it. What else?
More specific marketing.
Specific marketing. Got it, Nancy. Thank you.
That doesn't sound like, but more targeted marketing. That's what I'm trying to say.
You got it. I understand completely. Thank you for being here. All right, we say motivation and mindset, organization, growing a listing focused business with systems to get realistic ideas. Oh, it's going too fast. Oops. Refresh my team with assisting. As soon as I close my first listing, I'm prepping for the next sale. I love that. All really great things. Mindset. I see lots of mindset.
Lots of mindset today. I love that. Lots of mindset.
And what is the first thing that Gary says to get right? In a shift, by the way.
Mindset.
Isn't that crazy, Lorraine?
Yes.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
I'm so glad you're on with us. Okay, Krista, we just set up a really great platform for what we're going to be diving into over the next few weeks. This series runs Tuesday, Wednesday, Fridays, 2 to 3. You're going to see myself and Brooke and our guest host all the time here. And Krista, I'm going to pass it over to you. Tell us who you are and why did you select the first MREA series? What was it about it?
Hey guys, good afternoon. My name is Krista Carnan. I'm the ATL in the mountains region of New Hampshire for Keller Williams Coastal and Lakes and Mountains Realty. We are headquartered in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and we have business centers all over the state. We have presence in Maine and also Vermont and also Massachusetts. So we're kind of spread all over the place up here. And why not session one to get us started, I think, although I did kind of assume that I was in the co-pilot seat for today. So we'll see how this goes. But thanks everybody for joining us. I'm really excited to see 5 full pages of people here. The ticker at the bottom says 102. So welcome. Thank you so much for investing in yourself and showing up today. So the MREA, our red book, our Bible, if you will, a lot of us will say that if it doesn't have, folded floppy ears and the spine isn't starting to come apart, that you haven't read it enough times. If you can't recite it forwards and backwards, then you probably haven't read it enough times. I know several people, even some faces that I see on here, have been through it about a dozen times and they can't wait to go through it again. So I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me. And let's get into it.
Yeah, let's co-pilot it all together. We're gonna do this together, guys. And Brooke, do you have anything you want to share on the screen?
We can bring stuff up, but I would bring up the I'm going to bring up the actual chapters just to highlight a few things. Many of these models, guys, everything we're going over, it's in the workbook we've given you. I will post that link again and again and again. We're also going to post I see so many people in the car. We're going to post these things back up on our growth page, our Ignite page, so watch for them. But these models are also available on MREA. I'm sorry, Keller Inc. And then you go to MREA and you can find all of these things we're going to talk about today. Sometimes when we're looking at PowerPoints, I feel like we're not focused on what the speakers are saying. So I would prefer to not show if that's okay with everybody. I mean, we do have a PowerPoint, but I think if we're focused on faces, it may help a little more, but you tell me.
All right, we'll start here with a discussion, and I'd love to see in the chat, you guys are already engaging fabulously, which I love because we're going to get out of this what we put into it. And as Diana Kokoska says, maybe somebody could finish the sentence. How you participate here. Anybody know how to finish that one?
Participate out
Is how you
there.
participate everywhere.
Is how you participate everywhere. Who was that?
Louise.
Hi, Louise.
Hi, how are you?
Well, good. How are you? Good to see
I'm
you.
great.
Good to see your picture. Thank you for being here. And yes, how you participate here is how you participate everywhere. So we would love engagement in this conversation. We are diving deep into the MREA. We're picking it fully apart. And we're starting off with the fundamentals and the myth understandings today. That's what we're focused on. So we're going to dive into these pages. If you have your book, see my book. If you have your book, take your book out. You might want to follow along with us. So Krista, do you have your book?
I do. Yep, it is right.
I have like 5 copies. Right
Just
now.
kidding. I recently gave my last one away, so I'm going off of printouts here. So
That's
don't
a
judge
true
me.
leader right there, right? Giving from contribution. I love it. All right. So let me just ask you, Krista, what is the first thing you think of when you open up the Red Book?
There's a lot in there. And that's, I think, why we're all here today, is that it can feel really overwhelming. There's a lot going on in there. So it's really important, I think, for us to just slow down, take a step back and really dissect it so we can get all the good stuff out of it. Because it is a lot, but it's an incredible guide to show you this is possible for every single person from every walk of life. You can start a career in real estate and be incredibly healthy, wealthy, as long as you follow the models. And I consider myself a very creative person. So this was really important for me to see the pyramid, right? We can't start with creativity. That's really what stands out in my mind. Because if you do that, then you're going to have an unbalanced structure if you don't have a proper foundation.
That's a great place to start. And that's on page 37. If you're following along with a book in front of you, that's on page 37. And it has the 2 triangles. One is straight up and one is on its side. Question to the group, how many of you think agents start with a triangle, the right side up rather than upside down? Which way do agents start typically? Upside down, is that what I'm seeing, Corinna?
The second one, yeah.
Yeah, the second one. Why do you think that we start there?
Because we don't know any better.
We don't know any better, and we think, you know what, we could get creative with this and we could do something different. We could get it all crazy, and my business is going to be different if I could just be creative, right? Listen, I'm speaking for myself, but I might be speaking for you as well. We start with that triangle upside down, and a lot of times that could be our biggest challenge. Would you agree, Krista?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's really important also just to point out that just because something has been done before doesn't mean that it's boring. And I think that that's why people try to get so creative so that they can make it fun and innovative. That's great. Things can so quickly go awry. So just because it's done before doesn't mean that it has to be boring, but you can start from that and build on it once you start to get good at it. But I think that that's really important, is the once you start to get good at it piece is when you can add your own creativity into it.
So what's an example of using the models first and then getting creative? Do you have an example that you could share with us?
I think we should ask the group.
All right, let's ask the group. What's an example of using one of our models first before creativity?
I'll give a quick shameless plug. I'm not scared. To Command, designs within Command, we have the ability to start from something that's already made, whether it be a smart plan or, a just listed, just sold design. We can start with that and then add our little creativity here and there. We know that we can see however many 10,000 people have used this one smart plan. So clearly things are going well. So if you want to add your own little spin to that, I think that that's an example that I would use.
Absolutely. We have in the chat 8x8s, 36 touches, contacts, tags, opportunities. Corinna, what were you going to add?
Leads, just getting leads from your sphere.
Absolutely. Is that a system and a model that you're going to set the foundation first before you get creative with it? Yes. And that is a
Yes.
prime example. Prime example. Example is a referral creativity on how you get them. Thank you, Nancy.
That's a
All
great
right, so
point.
on page 36, there are a couple of passages that I'm not sure if you have in front of you, Krista, but I'm going to read the first one here. It says, passage number 1, long ago, I realized that success leaves clues, that people who produce outstanding results do specific things to create those results. Let that marinate for a minute, guys. I'm going to read it one more time. Ready? Long ago, I realized that success leaves clues, that people who produce outstanding results do specific things to create those results. Can you think of a person or a product who has done that to be successful? I bet you each one of us on this call could at least name one person or a business that has done that to be highly successful. And I'll tell you one of them, McDonald's. Whether you like them or not, it doesn't matter. What they have produced is a successful system where, if you go into a McDonald's here in Rhode Island where I am, or in Maine where somebody else is on this call, or New Hampshire, you get the same cheeseburger and the same fries. Is that accurate?
Very accurate.
Right? You could even go to France to a McDonald's and you will get the same product. That is what passage number 1 is about.
Harry
Except for it's called a Royale with cheese instead of a quarter pounder, as we know because of the movie Pulp Fiction and the metric system.
Yeah, I didn't know that because I haven't watched that, but I love that. I love that. It's the same product though, right? So again, I'm going to let you guys marinate on that for 1 minute while we discuss the next one. Brooke or Krista, do you have passage number 2 you want to go over?
I've got it. If Krista doesn't, let me know. Do you have it?
Yeah, I've got them right in front of me. Do you want number 2 or number 3?
Go for 2 and I'll hit 3 up.
Sure.
Ryan,
So
Ryan just
passage number
talk about
2, actions are the source of all results. This process of discovering exactly and specifically what people do to produce a specific result is called modeling.
R&D, rip off and duplicate. Like
Make it till you make it, right? That's kind of how I read that is model, do. You're trying, and then you're doing it, right?
we do.
Well,
And,
if you read the book, Gary says about the professor that really he didn't listen to for 10 years before it actually sunk in. Do you guys remember what he said? Stop trying to recreate something. Somebody has already done it better than you. Go do what they're doing. I didn't say it as eloquently as it is in the book, but you guys know what I mean by that, right? Brooke, I'm sorry, I overspoke you, so go ahead.
No, it's okay. We do this all the time. This is where you just get you and I are so passionate about this. And I also think we learn something and then we think too much on it instead of just doing. The reason some of the things like the smart plans have certain tasks and follow-up involved is because those things work. But we may not like the way it looks, or we add too many things instead of just deploying. We've got to just go, rip the Band-Aid off, send it. It works. Do the follow-up.
Hey, Brooke.
Yo.
Have you ever heard of paralysis by overanalysis before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what that sounds like to me.
I call it marketing constipation. They're never going to deploy the marketing because they fear that it's not perfect enough, right? It's out there for a reason. Design libraries are built with specific user experience in mind. It's modeling it for your clients, not the agents. So that paralysis you're talking about is exactly what happens. We got to take action.
Yeah, everybody gets ready to get ready. And I've said this on a lot of different platforms that I'm on, but I'm going to say it again here. My word for this year is action. And it's not only for myself, but it's for everybody around me who I am on Zooms with, who my family, for everything. Like, we need to take action on the plan that we have set forth. Because you know what, we have a goal. Does everybody on here have some sort of goal for this year? I don't care if it's selling houses or if it's taking more vacations. We all have a goal on here. And if we can't take action on our plan, we're never going to get to that goal. So that's what this whole book is all about. And let's keep going, guys. Brooke, why don't we go over passage number 3?
Yep. So to me, modeling is the pathway to excellence. The movers and the shakers of the real world are often professional modelers, people who have mastered the art of learning everything they can by following other people's experience rather than just their own. So again, don't reinvent it. Don't reinvent that wheel. That's as simple as that one is.
All right, we already went over the page 37 with the triangles. Let's move on and go right into the next part, which is natural ability and achievement ceilings. Krista, do you have any experience with that, or how can you break this section down for everybody?
That's a really good question. And I think with this, our ecosystem is so special in the way that once you see that ceiling and you start to approach that ceiling, if you're not a particularly creative person, there are so many people that you can reach out to and say, hey, I think I'm approaching a ceiling. How do I fix this? And I think that, as we read on, as we get into the 3 L's, the leverage part of that is where you can really use some creativity, because a lot of our questions are answered with a who and not a what.
Leverage. That's that magic leverage word, right?
That magic word. So an example, let's say you're working with 45 buyers all at once. No, you're not, because that's impossible. There's not enough time in a day to do that right now. And especially,
well, you know what, let me just add in there. You can work with 45 buyers, right? You can, but can you give them the same results by you doing it all yourself?
If you have a transaction coordinator and a photographer and a videographer and all of those other who's, right? But yeah, just think of, when you're getting so busy and you feel like you want to sit there and pull your hair out, or, put the target on the wall, bang head here, there are people for that. And that's called a ceiling, that feeling in your gut of, I can't do this anymore by myself. That's when you need another human.
Yeah, so I'm just going to read a couple of lines. In my book, I underline or highlight the areas that I feel are really relevant and really sit with me. On page 38, I underlined natural ability can take us only so far. Right? I mean, a lot of us have natural ability to succeed, to do well, to comprehend real estate at a high level, but that is still only going to get us so far. The next line I underlined was a quote: when I hit that ceiling of achievement, whether it is high or low, or is low or high, how will I break through it is the question. How will I break through it? And a lot of what Krista is talking about is sometimes, most of the time, it's either a system, a model, or a person that's missing in your world to break you through. So on page 39, there is a lovely graphic of breaking through to higher achievement. So Joseph, you put, if you hate it, delegate it. I love that.
Make that a t-shirt.
Down, guys.
I want that. That's my
Make
next
that a
shirt.
t-shirt.
Yep.
Well, a t-shirt, make it, do it. But here's the thing, right? When we got into real estate, we didn't know that we were going to be a marketer. We didn't know that we were going to be an admin. We didn't know that we thought we were just going to go list a house and sell it, or bring a buyer to one of 3 houses and they'd buy it, right? Because that's what HGTV tells us is going to happen. No, nobody else, just me. All right. Well, when I was 3, I didn't know better.
I can't even watch those shows anymore now that I'm in this world. I'm like, this is fake.
When I first, I started a long time ago. And when I first started, it was like that. people came into the office and you took them out and you looked at houses and of course you had to fill out the offer and fill out the purchase and sale, but there wasn't technology. We didn't have computers. So
It has changed a
it
lot.
has
And I've been
changed
in it
so
for
much.
20 years and it's changed a lot in 20
Oh, yeah.
years as well.
But what hasn't changed is the relationship factor, or there's no business, whether real estate or not, cannot be successful or hit these, break through these ceilings without foundations. So it doesn't matter if we're writing in journals and putting up things on the glass, windows and taking pictures and actually putting the real printed photos out. At the end of the day, it comes back to systems, models, and then growing within those. So that's perfect for our next section, which is those 3 L's, right?
Absolutely. Let's dive right into them.
So who knows what the 3 L's are? Throw it in the chat if you know it. Let's see who's the fastest on the keyboard right now. What are those 3 L's are? For me, they're learning, love, and laughter. But I was told those are the wrong 3 L's.
Live, laugh, and love.
Who was it? It was too fast. It went by.
It was Megan.
Megan.
Listings leverage.
Megan, you get a virtual high five, which is called Pride, Not Prize. Congratulations. Look at all of these. Look at everybody who knows this. You know what? You guys are in the right spot because let's talk about the 3 L's: leads, listings, and leverage. Brooke, what do you have underlined in your book that is important in one of the 3 L's section?
I love the first one because it basically says you can have a doctorate in real estate, but if you don't have leads, you don't have a business. Right? No leads.
You don't have leads.
You don't have a business.
What?
You don't have a business.
Okay. How do you get leads?
How do you guys get leads? Put it in the chat right now. How are you getting leads, whether buyers or sellers? Put it in.
So the last sentence in the leads section on page 41, the last sentence in the lead section, it says, to succeed as a real estate professional, I had to learn to generate client leads.
You mean there's not just people out there willing to just give tons of names? You don't.
Well, listen, there are those moments that you're like, oh, how did that just show up in my world? If your business is based on that, it might not grow to the extent you want it to, right? So one of the things I was not told when I first got into the business was that line, by the way. I wasn't. Am I the only one on here that was fooled when I took the real estate class and I learned that there is 43,560 square feet in an acre, and that's what I thought I needed to know, but that was not what I needed to know. I needed to know that I needed to lead generate.
And there's magic in this book. There are magic conversion tools, and we get into those as we go on, but there are formulas, and there are, again, models and systems that tell us, hey, in order to close, say you have a unit goal of 25, right? How many contacts need to be in your database? Contacts, not leads, just contacts. How many have to be in opportunities? How many appointments?
How many do need to be in their database if they want to close 25, Brooke?
Calculate.
You have to have 3,000.
And I think you need to take it and fill it in for Landon.
Yep.
No, thank you.
Oh, yep, they have to have 3,000. 3,000 contacts. Then you have to have 50 appointments. And we know that not every one of those appointments leads to someone. So that means about 13 people you're adding per day. And if you guys want to play with those, I have a calculator on my website you can play with to see what that looks like. Because I don't math. If you were like, wow, Brooke doesn't math and she just pulled that out. No, friends. I got tools because that is my natural ability, is to make the tools, not do the math. Make it easy for yourselves, right? And we've got to know those numbers. I'm sure you're sick of hearing that phrase from us, but it's so true. You've got to know your numbers, whether it's in the market or what's going on for your goals and in your world. Lisa, I'm so glad you got the giggle out of that, knowing me like you do. But we've got to
ask? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Grace.
Can we ask? Is that like our can we start the conversation? Like, can we be in the conversation here?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So I am brand new, like really brand new. And I keep hearing about door knocking and doing open houses and like all like so many different things. And I was like thinking maybe the first thing I need to do is like door knocking, but I have no idea how people do it. What do they bring to the house? Do they bring like a small gift? Do they bring like some kind of evaluation of the house they're gonna visit and give it to the owner? I know it's probably a silly question for so many people who have done this already, but I really want to know because I want to start doing this.
Not a silly question. This is your safe space to ask those questions. There's no such thing as a silly question here. So I would say absolutely do something like that. I've been coaching a lot of our agents in our area to, if you see a new listing go under agreement very, very quickly, contact the listing agent, ask how many offers there were, and then you actually have a real live piece of information that you can say, hey, mister, your neighbor had 34 offers on his house. That means there are still 33 folks that would love to live in your neighborhood. Here's a personalized market analysis that I put together for you. May I have a seat at your kitchen table?
It's all about bringing value. And that comes with the confidence, right? And reading the book as well and making sure you attend those, beginning classes as a newer agent. And I think everybody can agree on this call that in the beginning, because I see a bunch of agents who have been in this business a long time on my very front page, that this stuff does come with time and understanding the models and systems and your value. And we get into that, right? Knowing your value is one of the topics and your value proposition that we will dig deep into in a future session. But no, we love those questions. Thank you, Grace. And hopefully throughout this session, some of the stuff will just start to fall into place, all the different puzzle pieces of the MREA.
Can I also say, if there's something that you want to know, Google it, because you'll get a lot of options out of it, like real estate door knocking, and you'll get a whole bunch of stuff. The golden letter, you'll get a bunch of stuff.
Yep. And then I just put the KW Connect resource in our group as well. KW Connect is a huge resource, and you're not weeding through old material as well. It's for the market of the now, right? So we're in that shift. We've got to have these models and systems, because what does shift talk about? Get back to the foundations. Back to the foundations. Jen, do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, I think you hit on it. And Grace, I would say go talk to your market center leadership as well, because they have some great tips and ideas for you on top of that. I did see a hand up, but it might have went down. I think it was Melissa. Melissa, did you have something you wanted to contribute?
Oh, I was going to say do both. Do open houses and use the open house as the reason to door knock the neighborhood. Let the people know in the neighborhood about the upcoming open house. See if they have anybody that's, interested. It opens up the conversation. And then you do another follow-up after the open house to let them know how many people came to the open house, how many offers came through, and set yourself up with a solid strategic open house plan. So you're not just sitting there for 2 hours. And it's set up so that you have a system in place to follow up with the people from the open house, so that you're getting opportunity from every minute. It's just being, I can't think, everything that you do should have a purpose.
Yep.
I love that too, because that's a really courteous thing to do, to go around to all of the neighbors and say, hey, there might be some increased traffic in the area. This is why, and here's your invitation. Come get some homemade cookies.
Yeah. So that's perfect. So it may not be your listing, right? And we see a lot of agents covering open houses. So let's dive into listings, because listings are what drive our world, right? Sorry, my camera just keeps going blurry on me. There we go.
It says listings are the high leverage, maximum earning opportunity in our industry. The first line in the listing section on page 41. Listings are the high leverage, maximum earning opportunity in our industry.
And then it does say concentrating on listings will double or triple your gross income. So by focusing on listings, you could double or triple your gross commission income. That's a lot of money.
It also talks about in this section that the research shows that one listing properly marketed should generate enough leads to produce a maximum of one closed buyer. Now, here's the thing. I know what you guys are saying, and I know the drunk monkey is coming. You guys are all saying there's no way, listings are selling way too fast. You know what? How many buyers are coming to one listing at one time? A lot more than ever. So even though it might be a shorter period your listing is on the market, you have more opportunity because of the buyers walking through that door. Obviously, you want to make sure that they're not represented buyers, but the buyers that are not represented are your opportunity to continue that growth in your business. Krista, I know you were a very successful agent. Is this something that you used as a tactic? Buddy.
I loved having open houses. That was really my opportunity to have kind of, I don't want to say non-confrontational because that sounds dramatic, but just have a real life human conversation with the people that are coming into this space, and just kind of gently putting it out there. You know, if you're unrepresented, I would love to have a conversation with you on why you came into this house today, what it is that you're looking for, what excited you about this house. And I'd like the opportunity to show you more of them. I loved an open house. And I love to host too. So like, I'm the one who's making all the treats. And if the oven's clean, I'm baking cookies right in the house. So
you need the diffuser. You need the cookie diffuser that they invented. But no, and this is how you get your name out, and you don't have to, these people aren't cold anymore. These are, and with all the tools we have, as an unrepresented buyer walks at the house, you have the ability to put them on an open house smart plan from your command app and make sure that they walk out and they have your app and they know you're going to be following up there. And we get them to our website. There's just so many tools we have to make sure that listings continue your business along. So we've got our pillars, right? So here's our framework of our business. We've got the leads, listings, and leverage, right? So now you've got the leads, the listings is bringing you the money to help fund the leverage you need to break through ceilings and grow your business, right? So they're all part of the same triangle, but they clearly lead to one another. And the triangle doesn't end, right? It keeps going. More listings come from more leads to give you more leverage in this world.
Yep, your leverage is your time versus money.
Yep.
Time versus money. Is it worth your time to sit there and create your marketing material for the entire day because it took you the entire day to create the marketing material that you don't even necessarily love? Or is it worth your time to leverage that piece to have it in less time and more proficient, right? And then on page 43, it says leverage can be divided into 3 categories: people, systems, and tools. Write this one down if you don't have the book. If you're following along, this is on page 43 of the MREA. Leverage answers 3 important questions. Who is going to do it? How will they do it? What will they do with it? And the answers are the people, system, and tools. People, system, and tools. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just going to pop in a link to the task list for megas. And I love this as a tool because as you're a newer agent or a solo agent, you may not know all the tasks you actually do. And this also gives you the information on what should go to your first hire. Right? So that leverage piece, the person you're looking for.
I just want to add to this conversation too, like think bigger when you're thinking leverage, right? Like when you get to the point where the target's on the wall, bang head here, and you've got too much to do. Maybe it's not a business who, but it's who can I hire to clean my house so that I have more time to go lead generate? Who can I get to detail my car so I don't have to take 4 hours with the Q-tip, making sure that all the grime is out of the car? things on that level also, though, that's absolutely leverage. I love to take the dog for a walk, but walking the dog, if you haven't got the time for it, little things like that, that free up some time and some space for you to do the things that we would consider your money-making activities.
And we talked about this so much yesterday in our Take 6 Hours Back class that we hosted on the Cape. It's if something is taking you out of lead gen, it needs to be leveraged out. Just because we also enjoy it doesn't mean it's building our business.
You know what, it's crazy because if you listen to a lot of agents who get up on stage at mega camp and at family reunion, the one thing that I hear over and over and over again is, what would they do differently if they started over again? And do you know what the answer is, Krista Brooke?
Cleaning person. I need a cleaning person.
It is hiring somebody, an admin of some sorts for their business. Now, I saw in the chat, I think it was Susie that said, I love marketing, and that's something that I'm really good at. You go and do that. There are areas in your business that you're going to need leverage on that you might not be the best at, because in real estate, there are so many jobs that we didn't sign up for that we might not necessarily love. Look at the ones that you don't love and find the leverage that could excel you so you stay in your 20%. That's the goal of this whole leverage piece, staying in your 20%. Does anybody know what your 20% is in real estate?
Lead gen.
Right, lead gen, finding business, right? Getting business, finding business, and duplicating that over and over and over again, staying in that lane. Ryan and I are going to be fast friends. He's keeping me laughing throughout today. Thank you for that. Okay, so let's keep going. Brooke and Krista, we're moving on to, it says the 4 stages of growth on page 44, but does anybody know that they changed it to 5? Anybody here know that? Well, change it in your book, cross it out and put 5 stages of growth. Cross that out if it's not in your book already, and put 5 stages of growth to on the path to $1 million. And I'm going to go through it with you. You have your triangle of leads, listings, and leverage, right? Leads is on the bottom, listings is on the left, leverage is on the right. You're then going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines in your triangle. If you're looking on page 44, you see it, you're going to make another line at the top of that triangle. And it starts with think $1 million. If you don't have the book, write this down. Think $1 million, earn $1 million. This is the 5 stages of growth. Think $1 million, earn $1 million, net $1 million, receive $1 million. And anybody in here know what the 5th one is? Not Brooke, not Krista.
Give.
Who said that?
Me.
Lorraine. Melissa.
Me.
High five, guys. Yes, it is give $1 million. That's our path.
At family reunion, they heard on the stage during the inspiration morning that you didn't have to have $1 million to give $1 million. And that hit me like, I mean, I was crying like a blubbering mess the whole time anyway. But when that was said on the stage, that opened my eyes, because just because I haven't made $1 million yet doesn't mean I can't use my resources to give $1 million or bring it in.
I love how many people knew that and put that in the comments. So great job following along and coming from contribution again, because you know what, that is part of our Keller Williams culture, is giving, is doing. So I love that. Okay, I'm going to keep moving because we need to move a little faster. We only have about 15 minutes left, and I want to make sure we get through the myth understandings today. On page 45, I have underlined the second paragraph. It says, commit the foundational model of the real estate agent, the millionaire real estate agent, to memory. Draw it on the back of a business card and stick it in your wallet. No, guys, really do that. Like this book says it, do it. Take a picture of it in the book. Put it, you can't see my book. Put it on your phone. Draw it out on a piece of paper. Like, commit to it. Commit to it, because you know what, we had a guest on our growth call on Monday, and she kept talking about visualization and how it got her to where she is currently.
Dakota.
Yes, and she was visualizing where she wanted to be, and guess what? she got to where she wanted to go because she visualized it every single day. This, you know what everybody says, you got to memorize this book. That sentence, memorize it. Put this in front of you. Okay, moving forward on page 45, the last line I want to highlight before we move to the next page says, thinking big and aiming high, you will certainly you will certainly reach a higher place. Let me read that again because I messed it up. Thinking big and aiming high, you will certainly reach a higher place. It's about the middle of the first paragraph if you're following along. Thinking big and aiming high. That's how Gary started this whole book off. Thinking big and aiming high. What is that?
Where is it again?
That is on page 45, about halfway down that first paragraph. It's in the middle of the sentence. I didn't even pick the whole sentence. I just picked half of it.
Under moving forward.
Is it above commit the foundational model or below?
Below.
It's moving forward. It's in the moving forward paragraph.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry. All right. So myth understandings. Let's move on to that, ladies. Who wants to tackle the myth understandings?
Love it. Love it. I can't do it. I can't do what that girl's doing. I can't do what that guy's doing, right? When we sit there, sometimes when we sit there in these top agent masterminds, we're overwhelmed by what we hear. But until you try, you don't know, right? And hopefully with the classes you're taking and the things you're coming to and the education you're getting, we're breaking things down into small pieces. But the limiting belief that we hear from agents is, I just can't do it. I can't do it the way they do it. Makes me sad for you guys. You can do it. You got to just try.
Well,
That's
and
that
why?
action.
Right? I would always push back on why. Why not you? Why can't you? Look where you are. You're at the biggest real estate company in the world. So there's no reason that you can't. You can and you will.
Well, you know, it says it right here that myths tend to lead to unfounded fears in a life of limitations. And that's why. Until we can break through that and find the truth behind the myth is when we will truly break through that and believe it for ourselves. So the second myth is it can't be done in my market.
Well, aren't we proof that it can be done in our market? Considering how many awards we give out as a region or in our market centers, it can be done.
Well, you know, there's a different approach that might have to be done in your market. That's true. But you could find that approach and find that solution and find that gap in your market.
Right? This is using the models and then getting creative within the models.
It would take too much time and effort. I would lose my freedom.
Leverage, and time blocking.
Go ahead. I'm going to let somebody else read the next two.
Well, I just want to point out that it says that the third one is that what the most amount of people will fall prey to. And I'm just curious as to why you guys would think that.
Yeah, throw that in the chat.
Too much time and effort, I would lose my freedom. That's what most people fall prey to.
Well, I'll tell you something on number 3. This is Eric Thomas.
Hi, Eric.
When someone would ask me, I would have told them a year ago that I didn't have any myths, right? No, I read them all. They're not a myth. And then when I got to number 3, I started thinking about it and going like, that myth keeps me trying to be creative, right?
Right.
I realize I do have the myth, right? In my mind, I'm going like, why aren't you following the models? Why aren't you doing certain things? Well, it was like, I got to get there fast. I got to, but I would not have told you that was a myth. And then I was reading the book again, something happened. I looked down, shoot, I got a myth.
Well, sometimes we hide the myths because it's easier, right? It's comfortable to put that away and you don't think of it as a myth, but it's a limiting belief. and it creeps up in our world. And then until it actually shows up right in front of you, we don't really get it as a limiting belief until we do. Kind of like in the shift book where it says slowly and then suddenly it happens. It's the same thing with a limiting belief or a myth. Thank you for sharing that, Eric. All right, so let's move on to number 4. It's too risky, I'll lose money.
I love
How many
this.
of us waited to get our real estate license because of that one myth? I see some smiles and nods and yeses, right? Sometimes we wait to do something because we feel like it's too risky and you'll lose money. Yet we know, what do we know behind that truth, Brooke?
That we do have to take the risk because it's in direct proportion. The risk you take is in direct proportion to how you build your business. But I also see the agents chasing the big shiny objects, right? And at the end of the day, we have to play red light, green light. You hear that term often. It's a need to have, wants to have, would be nice to have type of situation, right? Where are you in your business? Are you tracking your return on investment on these things? So it's not that you're going to lose money. It's that you're going to have the costs associated to run your business, but you know what they are.
Well, here's the reality of it. If we run our business like a business and we as the CEO of the business show up every single day and we work like we're the CEO, like we work like Gary Keller is going to fire us if we don't come in today. Like we work like Gary Keller is going to look at our day and say, did you do what you needed to do to get to the goals you set forth? How are we going to show up? Will we show up differently than if we're holding ourselves accountable to that?
Right. Do you fire yourself today or do you hire yourself today? Like, where are you on your own evaluation as an employee for yourself?
It's not
That's a
risky.
really fun game to play every single day. At the end of the day, would I fire me or would I ask me to come back for another round tomorrow?
And this is why I love the activity tracker and command. You don't have to be on a team to do this, but this is your self accountability tool. What are the things I need to do today in my lead gen or in my business to be successful? And then put those activities in. You own your business. Don't lie to yourself. Right? Am I holding myself accountable? And do I need somebody else to hold me accountable? Am I showing up?
I like taking that word accountability and saying ownership.
Ownership. Yeah,
Responsibility.
you are all monopoly players, right? You own a monocle. You are real estate moguls. You own your own business. We've got to act like it.
Right. All right. What's number 5?
This is, my clients will only work with me. Only I can deliver quality service. But yet then you don't call them for 3 years.
What do you mean by that, Brooke?
Right?
I love this because it's a nice reminder that there are just shy of 2 million licensed realtor or real estate agents in the country, 1.8 actual certified realtors. Why you? We go over this. I think it's Ignite session 6, your value proposition. My clients will only work with me. My sister knows 45 real estate agents. My aunt knows 57 real estate agents. All of your friends and family know probably a dozen realtors. So this is absolutely a myth. If they're not reminded and loved on a regular basis by you, you're not going to be top of mind, and they're going to say, hey, I saw Jane Doe 3 days ago. She has a real estate license. You need a realtor? Here's her number. That's a gut punch.
And it's also, we can't run alone. We have to have a team, right? So when we talk about the people who help us in our world, you're allowed to talk big. You do have a great big KW family team behind you, whether you're a solo agent or a team agent. And it's just how we voice these things, right? Disney isn't Disney one person, right? Huge team. And Jen and I are very passionate about how that Disney experience translates into real estate. But if you're not staying top of mind, if you are fearing over touching, we've got to reverse that mindset on things, because the neighbor with the sign that's not yours, that's because we're not doing our jobs. We assume they know we're in real estate because they see us lugging our stuff in and out of the car every day. But what they see is a busy agent.
Melissa, you got your hand up?
Oh, sorry, Mel.
Oh, yeah. So I was going to add to that, which I'm doing training. I'm doing screen recorded training for whenever I do hire someone. It will be my training manual for them. And I explained that in the whole tagging and doing the database too, is there's nothing worse than you didn't reach out to them soon enough, so they thought you were too busy. Just because they know you're in real estate doesn't mean that you're going to get the call. And you don't want them to assume they're not hearing from you because you're too busy to help them. You don't need the business.
I think that that's a really important point, and thank you so much for bringing that up and for sharing with us. The words that we use matter, and we need to be really careful with them. So to that point, when you're talking to mother, father, brother, sister, whoever, friends, your sphere, be very careful when they say, how are things going? How's work? How's real estate? And you're like, oh my God, so busy. Because then they're going to think she's too busy for me. If I have real estate needs, she might be too busy for me. If she's already overwhelmed with all of these other things, she may be too busy for me. So maybe put a nice positive spin on that. Things are great. The market is wonderful.
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the training.
For a buyer or a seller, right? Like continue the
Right.
conversation, but just saying like, oh my God, it's been so busy. Just be really careful of that.
Busy is not an emotion, guys, too. Get that out of your vocabulary when people ask you how you are. Busy is not an emotion. It's a verb or an adjective. So let's hit that last 6 one, because a lot of the people, I think the hardest part is doing this. And a lot of us have not had strong, we don't talk about finances. We don't talk about money, and we certainly don't talk about goals as a business owner on yourself. And that is something that is so different about us. And what I love, and that last myth understanding, what a hard word, is having a goal and not fully realizing it is a negative thing. Great. But the truth is, having a goal and not trying to achieve it is the actual negative thing. And we don't know where we're going if we don't map it out. Just like thinking I could get to the market center without my GPS yesterday. No. We need to know where we're going. We've got to plug those end goals in. And yes, that did happen. I thought I knew where I was going. That's why I leave early. But fear of failure often makes it so we don't plug those numbers in. Or alone, we don't know what those numbers should be. And that's where your productivity, your market center leadership, there are so many people who want to help you achieve those goals. And sometimes it's as simple as plugging those numbers into the lead gen calculator and working your way backwards and chunking it down. I'm a person that has to see, what do we call them, guys? Does anybody remember? I call them the in-betweenies. I'm not looking for that last bubble that's filled with closing. I'm trying to figure out, how do I get to the in-betweenies of each step of the opportunities to get to those closed units? The in-betweenies, hashtag in-between.
Those are gap fillers, and we need those, right? So, all right, I do want to close off today because I want to make sure we get you out of here on time. And as we told you, 3 o'clock. Just a little pro tip for going forward with our series. One, tomorrow is going to be 9 ways an MREA thinks. So 9 ways an MREA thinks is tomorrow, 2 to 3 o'clock. Pro tip, put Audible on with the MREA, listen to it before you come to class, and or read the chapters ahead. We're going through pages 67 to 97 tomorrow. If you have time this evening, read ahead. We will have a great dialogue with you as we continue on and dive deep into this book. If we're all on the same page and on the same wavelength, and have some great dialogue and questions. So Corinna, I know you had your hand up. Did you have something you wanted to add earlier?
Yeah, so I was going to say, like, when people ask me, like, how's the market, I always say, it's crazy busy, but I could always use one more.
I love that.
The market is crazy busy. She didn't say she was.
Yep.
I love
Nope.
that. Love
Yep,
that.
the
Yeah.
market's crazy busy and I could use one more.
All right, so let's open it up. We have about 2 minutes left, guys. Any questions, comments, or anything you guys want to ask us before we move on?
And real quick, I saw a lot of questions about the materials and the different links. Please click that Facebook. If you're not following us on the KWNE growth call, we're going to put that there. So those links and the different things we talked about today, I've already downloaded the chat and I've got everything that we talked about. So please just follow that Facebook page and that will be up.
What's the fastest hour all day, by the way?
I know.
Like the Kentucky Derby. It's like the fastest 19 seconds in sports, right?
If you've got a question,
I
you
just-
can raise
I
your
just wanna-
digital hand.
Piggyback real quick, and then I'll drop the mic for the day. But what Brooke was just talking about regarding goals, the number one reason why people fail in real estate is because they either don't set a goal or don't understand how to set a goal. If you don't write it down, it's just a dream. And if you don't understand how to make a goal, get in touch with your market center leadership, because it's the most important thing that you can do at the beginning of your career, in the middle of your career. Every year, I mean, we do it on the 15th of every month, right? The 15th protocol. Where am I at? Put my goals right in front of me on a piece of paper, and let's determine where I'm at and where I need to be.
Yeah, not only set the goal, but map it out. And that's why you're here, because we're going to map it out with you. We're going to get organized. We're going to get you your foundations, your systems, your models, your tools, everything ready through this book. So thank you guys so much for being on our first session with us. It was a lot of fun. I hope to see you back tomorrow. Bring your friends. We got room in this room. Right, Brooke?
We do. Bring your friends, drag them.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Friends, take
Thank
care.
you.
Look at all our friends on video. There was so
I
many.
love it. It
On.
makes me so happy. I need a bigger screen.
I gotta tell you, it makes me so happy because I'm starting to recognize like being back in person. This is such a happy thing.
I know.
All right, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, ladies. Thank you.
Bye. Great.